This is the Big Friendly Swim podcast, and I'm the Big Friendly host. And today's guest is a former Washington State Cougar and is currently at University of Hawaii. Makayla Poloni, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
So, to get right into things here, talk to me about your time at Washington State University. Obviously, you did your undergraduate program there. What brought you to the school, and what were like some of the biggest lessons and takeaways from your time there?
Yeah, so Washington State is such a big part of me 4 years later. I literally bleed crimson and gray, but I actually did not want to go on my recruiting trip. Um, Going in as a senior, I kind of had my heart set on another school. And once I took that recruiting trip, I was like, you know what? I'm done. Like, I'm just gonna cancel it. It's in 2 weeks. I'll just, text Matt and just be like, hey, like, so sorry. But my parents were really, especially my mom, just kind of like adamant of like seeing all my options. And, that 2 weeks kind of came by. My whole family came with me. They wanted to make sure kind of like everything that I was seeing, they were seeing from like a parental kind of, point of view. Um, so I literally like got off the plane and, small town Pullman, Washington. I just kind of like it just kind of hit me like I knew that was where I wanted to be for the next 4 years. Um, but throughout the recruiting trip, it kind of just like all kind of fell into place. Everything that I had asked was true, and it was just a very like surreal moment. I literally like stepped off the plane and I knew that was home. But biggest lessons and biggest takeaways from my time there, honestly, biggest lesson is like falling flat on my face. I'm not the best student. I can admit that I do need help. And going into college, I was like, I'm going to be, a big girl and do it myself. Learned very quickly. I needed tutors. I needed help. I needed someone to kind of like be on me in regards to certain things. Um, so biggest lesson was, falling flat on my face and like talking to Matt, my head coach, and just being like, I need help. And biggest takeaway from my time there is that being in a small town, family is everything to them. Community is everything to them. And I've always known that I'm a big family person, but it just kind of like instilled that that is kind of like my core value as a person. And it was really nice to kind of be like, I need help. And everyone kind of like dropped everything to help. And it's just like, that was just kind of like the biggest, like, okay, I did make the right decision.
How big? Like, what's the population there? Like, how big is it of a town is it?
With students, I think it's kind of like, I think it's 30,000.
Oh wow!
But I think without students, like during the summertime, it goes down to like 10,000. So,
So really small town, like.
really small town, yes.
See, because out here in Livermore, I'm like, oh, it's a small town. It's like 80,000. It's like
Yeah,
average
no.
California small town.
For sure.
So, tell me about like as a queer student athlete, because there's not a lot of people who are out and like who are out. I guess that's the right word in the swimming community and in the NCAA world. What are some ways that you wish like NCAA competition would better support LGBTQ plus student athletes?
Yeah. I think for me, it's kind of like having, and I guess to say like for me, I do feel supported by NCAA, especially at Washington State. There was no kind of if, ands, or buts when I came out to my head coach, Matt. He kind of like sat me down and he was like, okay, and I'm gonna love you no matter what. Like, just because you like whoever you like, it's not gonna change my perspective on you. And he did make it very clear that like if anyone on the team or anyone surrounding teams had anything bad to say about me, that he would like to know like ASAP, because that is not a place. especially in the college community, to, have that kind of differences. Like you're here to do your job and really nothing else. But I think from like an NCAA kind of standpoint, um, I think there needs to be kind of better policies and like clear and concise policies. I know, especially for like transgender and non binary student athletes, they're very much in a kind of gray and fuzzy area. And I know I can't relate to it, but I know I do have friends who are non-binary, and it's just kind of like they don't know kind of which way to kind of go because there isn't that like clear and concise policy. Um, I know we'll kind of like talk about this later, but I think having mandated like training sessions is something that I kind of wanted to bring to the table, at least on a Washington State level. I'm pretty sure there's probably some LGBTQ kind of training on a coaching level, but I think as student athletes, it's also really important to kind of like know how to better support your teammates or, your classmates in other sports. So I think just kind of like, again, clear and concise policies, which is very hard in today's climate,
Yeah.
but also just kind of like knowing how to talk to your teammates is kind of like just like the basic level that we can kind of all get on. And it's a good place to start.
I think like talking about those clear and concise policies, like I think that's kind of hitting the nail on the head a little bit because there are athletes like Leah Thomas who, by her perspectives, is following the rules, is following all the rules that are clearly laid out, and then gets met with such vitriol that it's like, okay, well, if I'm following the rules that you've given me, and you're still mad at me, what can I do?
Yes, no, exactly.
I also need to specially shout out how much I hate Riley Gaines. I had to say it. I'm sorry.
I My sister will like send me like some post on like Instagram, and I'm like, okay, like good morning to you, Madison. But also like yeah, it's just like I do kind of want to point out that she wouldn't be known if it weren't for this inclusive environment and the opportunity that Leah got. So, I mean, I don't know if she knows this, but like she is known because of Leah.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on
I
it.
I don't see the first through fourth place finishers in that race making it. I just I there are a million things that can be said, but I'll leave it at that. Like I don't see the people who placed above her losing their minds, or the people who placed below her losing their minds. I'm like, you probably made millions of dollars off of tying for fifth.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So tell me about the Cougar Pride Student Athlete Alliance group, which, if my research was correct, you won an award for that back in like early 2024.
I did. Yes. Cougar Pride Student Athlete Alliance. That is very near and dear to my heart. It is kind of how not only I came out to like my community, but also like my way of giving back. Um, I didn't do it myself. Obviously, we like had a team. Student athlete development helped us a lot, but it was actually kind of like I helped revive it. So I won't take all the credit, but I did help revive it. 2020 definitely hit hard for, a lot of us student athletes, and especially like the support groups. So when I came out my sophomore year to my coach, I went kind of like directly to student athlete development and was like, hey, I know we have all of these amazing programs, especially, Black Student Athlete Alliance, BSAA. Is there anything for, LGBTQ like community? And our our person at the time, she was like, not at this moment, but there was a program. Like, would you want to, take that on? So, my first year with the program, I served as vice president. And at that time, I was not very, like, I would not have answered your DM. I was very, quiet, timid. But once you got to know me, I was like, this ball of energy. But then the second year came around, the president at the time left. So I had to kind of step into that role of president. And I was able to go on, I don't know if you're familiar with Athlete Ally, but they hold a conference every year, at least for the past couple years. They're fairly new. And I was able to go to Miami, Florida. So I went to the University of Miami. I went to the University of Washington, where they had conferences, and basically you had like this big mixing pot of different student athletes, not just swimmers, from lacrosse, softball, baseball, track, football, that all came and kind of shared their ideas and like just had different panels there on different, um, advocates in within the community, and it was just such a great learning experience there. But I was nominated by our student athlete development team for the Bayard Rustin Excellence Award within my time in LGBTQ community service. Obviously, like it was such a like I guess a moment of shock because they were like, "Hey, we nominated you for this, and you won, and you have to show up to this award show." And they were like, "You can invite anyone you want." And so I asked my coach, I asked Matt to come with, and then I also asked another teammate who graduated the year before. Um, just because Matt has shown me so much support, he's just like, when I like came out to him, it was just kind of like, and we're gonna go swim now. So it was very like, definitely told him multiple times, like he's such a father figure to me, especially when it came to coming out. So again, knowing that I won that award, and I was like, oh, like I'm so flattered, but it's just like I know the influence that us college kids have, especially in a small community, that I wanted to kind of like, again, show that small community it's okay to be you, and especially that younger generation that no matter what, you're going to have people behind you.
I'm just picturing like you coming out to him and he's like, "All right, so 3 100s."
Yeah, literally.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, especially in like a small community like that makes such a big difference. Which like it sounds like maybe you didn't realize it at first until they told you like, "Hey, you're going to this awards show."
Yeah, that's no exactly how I felt.
No, like, that makes such a difference in small communities. Like people who are willing to take that charge. Like the way you described it was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I just took on this program and I did this," but it's like in reality, it's such a big undertaking that again you likely didn't realize at the time, but
Hmm.
just born out of something that you truly wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Sorry, I have to hype up the podcast guests when they're like, "Oh yeah, I did this. It was cool," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, but it was really cool." So now you've gotten a bachelor's in arts and social sciences oh my god, from Washington State. I almost said University of Washington. What are you hoping to accomplish in your professional career after like you're done with college fully?
Yeah. So I want to go into student athlete development. That's kind
That
of my
makes
main
sense.
goal. Yes. So with my bachelor's, I got social sciences. So it's kind of it's a broad term. And at Washington State, they give you kind of like three areas, two or three areas if you want to like study. So I chose psychology, sociology, and communications. And so that made up like the social science realm. Um, but that's also including, I got two minors while at Washington State. So I have a minor in business administration, and then a minor in women, gender, and sexuality studies. So, with that being said, I would love to go into student athlete development. I would love to go on the more like diversity, equity, and inclusion side. Um, but I still really love sports. I was fortunate enough to be like a swim coach for a high school this past high school season in California. So being able to like really see those kids grow within like the 3 months that I was there, it just kind of like really instilled that yes, like this is like kind of career path that I do want to go into. Um, but I still have one more year of school. I'm actually, which no one really knows this yet, so I guess I'm kind of like outing myself now. But I actually live in Seattle now. So I'm going to the University of Washington for my master's, which is kind of crazy because obviously being a cougar, you don't you don't really talk about UW. So I'll be a husky in a couple of weeks. But I'm getting my master's in education. So the program that I'm going into is intercollegiate athletic leadership. So this will just help me kind of, I guess, kickstart my collegiate inquiries that I have. But yeah,
That's awesome. I it fills me with so much joy seeing like student athletes who want to like do something to help the community that they were a part of and just broader communities as a whole. Like it's so awesome.
yeah. It's just like swimming has been a part of my life for 20 years now. So it's just really nice to kind of like step away from it and give back again, like you said.
I mean, my past couple years have been kind of the same way. Like I exhausted my college eligibility in 2023, and it was around that time that like the podcast was starting to like be something. So
Hmm.
it's like, I mean, I'm still swimming. Like if I'm not in the water for like a week, I start to get antsy. I'm still swimming, but it's nice because it gives me a way to give back to the swimming community and like do something to still be involved if
Hmm.
it's not as intensive as training for 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
So, what brought you to Hawaii originally? Like, what went well for you about the team there? Like, what are some favorite memories you have? I mean, obviously, being in Hawaii was probably very, very pleasant.
It was so nice. It was so different, which is kind of what I wanted. I had a very, very kind of like hard time deciding whether I wanted to transfer or not for my fifth year of eligibility. But at the end of the day, I kind of decided that in order for me to grow, I needed something different. And going from, small town, again, Pullman, Washington, to an island, I didn't think was going to be that much of a difference, but it truly was. The culture there on Oahu is just absolutely, mind blowing. I'm in awe like every single day. Like you literally turn the corner and it's just something different and something new you got to experience. Um, and for me, it was obviously I wanted to finish out my college swimming career like with a bang, but I didn't put too much pressure to kind of like hit times that I had set. Um, I feel like my time at Washington State, I did hit my goals that I wanted to. Um, so my fifth year, I kind of did want to use more as like a um experience. So I definitely got lots of experience. Favorite memories, honestly, like swimming outdoors every single day was really nice. So much change, especially going from 4 years indoors. But I think some of those favorite memories were kind of just like spur of the moment kind of things. And it was with three girls that like are my ride or dies. Um, and there's this place. It's called OMG's. So there's no Chipotle on Oahu. So the next best thing is Oahu Mexican Grill, and it was a Thursday, I think it was, and they have like this thing. It's called like OMG Thursdays. You get like your burritos like 20% off or something like that. And one of the girls was like, I really don't want to make dinner. And so we were like, you know what? We've got nothing going on. Let's go to OMG. And we went to OMG and we literally sat there until like from the end of practice, which was probably around like 5:30 to closing, which was like 8:39. We just like sat and talked. And it was like it was so nice. And every single week after, we kind of made that a tradition. And then it became like an inside joke that one of the girls accidentally said like, "OMG, it's Tuesday." And we're like, "Ellie, it's not Tuesday, it's Thursday." And so like we have this group chat and it's literally called OMG Tuesdays because she said that. Um, but it's just like those girls, Kylie, Holly, and Ellie, that kind of like really grounded me, especially in a time where I knew no one. I didn't know the area. It was so new to me. Um, and they were just kind of like my favorite part for like in every single way possible.
I mean, those types of memories, like, they are made so suddenly, but they last for so long.
Yes.
Like, I was fairly lucky on my college team where, I mean, I don't know if you know how. I mean, you're from California. Community colleges get 2 years of
Yes.
eligibility. Um, so through COVID, what ended up happening was 2020 didn't count,
Hmm.
2021 didn't count. So 2022 and 2023 were my first and second years where I had transferred off to like a 4 year university at that point. Um, and I still came back and I like BS'd my units so I had enough to swim. But it's one of those things where like you kind of take it for granted at first, like, oh yeah, I've got 2 years of eligibility, and then you're on your fourth one, and you're like, wait, I have to leave now.
Yeah.
You start to appreciate those like little moments that become a bigger like part of your memories and your time there.
Oh yeah.
I always joked with my friend who graduated from Hawaii. I'm like, you're getting to go to school on the beach all day, and I
Yes.
was at Cal State
Yes.
East Bay in Hayward, and now I'm at San Jose State. Like, so whenever she'd complain, like, oh, it's so hot here, I'm like, that's nice.
On the
I,
beach.
yeah, like, you go have fun on the beach. I'll be in downtown San Jose.
Oh my God.
So my last question for you, and this is one that is possibly my favorite question to ask swimmers, because I feel like swimmers in general, or just athletes in general, get interviewed on like, oh, how did you feel going this time, or how did you feel at this meet, and it kind of drives me insane. So now, as a retired swimmer, or
Mhm.
just even when you were a swimmer, what are you enjoying or that you've enjoyed beyond the sport and your life as a student athlete? Like, what makes Makayla Poloni the person happy outside of swimming?
Uh, as a swimmer, it was honestly like you have those moments where you're like on top of the world, like you made your junior national cuts, you made your national cuts, you made NCAA times. Like obviously, like those times you feel like almost euphoric. And then you have those times where, at least for me, it was literally like sitting at the dinner table in our athlete dining hall and like all of us girls like eating together at a long table that it just like filled me with so much joy. And again, like you said, it's just the little things. As a retired swimmer, it's kind of harder. I know life after sports isn't the same for everyone, and I'm like, I know I'm 3 months out, so it's not too much different. Um, but it's just like enjoying the little things again. I know for me at least, having to sacrifice like my childhood in a way. I couldn't, sleep over because I had to meet the next day, or, I couldn't stay at the birthday party as long because I had practice the next morning. It was kind of like, it kind of felt like, ugh, this is like terrible, the end of the world. But, looking at it from as a 23-year-old now, those sacrifices were able to give me an amazing college experience. And I can never take that for granted anymore. And it's just like the nostalgia within the sport. I still kind of talk to some of the college girls that I swam with or who are still swimming at Washington State, and it's really fun to like just reminisce on your time there. I know for the girls who were in my class, we FaceTime like every other month. We just kind of like reminisce on things, and we're like, oh, remember when we went to Walmart and like it was just like just those little things. But as a retired swimmer, it's hard because my life has been swimming for 20 years. So trying to find different things to, I guess, like keep me occupied has been harder than I kind of imagined. But I have a little brother who's disabled. He's a year younger than me. So kind of the thing that makes me the happiest is seeing him happy. So especially when I was home, like going to pick him up from school was like really nice to see because you just see his face light up. So that kind of like transpired into me helping with like Special Olympics. Um, and just kind of like me being happy is other people being happy. And that's just me as a person. And it's really good to see other people happy, which again translates to me being happy.
Um, so he's not technically he's not my brother per se, but like I grew up around this family. Like we were neighbors for 15 years, so um, but our old neighbors, like we're still very close with them. Like there are two twin brothers, and one of them I'm not sure where on the spectrum he is, but to this day, like he sees my mom maybe like once or twice a year, and he'll be like, "Neda?" Like right away, immediately. Or like I think I was at like their house a few years ago, and he had just discovered what coffee was, and he was like over the moon excited. So for some reason now he associates me with coffee. So every time I go over, he's like, "Make me coffee." I like
Free coffee, might as well.
literally. Sorry, it just you talking about your brother just reminded me of that and like how precious those moments are. But I think that's fantastic. Like, it speaks to the kind of person that you are. That like you're happy when other people are happy, and you enjoy making those connections with people and those positive bonds. Like, I think that speaks to the person that you are.
Thank you.
That is just about everything I have for you. I was gonna make this joke earlier because I realized it last night, but I did not do this on purpose as well. I've only interviewed two like out queer athletes, and I happened to interview both of them in June. It wasn't. It's not on
Pride
purpose.
Month.
Yeah, it's not on purpose by any means, but I think it's funny.
What? That's like the greatest coincidence
Yeah,
ever.
because last year I interviewed Erica Sullivan right after trials.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's I don't know. It's just so funny to me.
I love that.